Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are going to be installing a K&N cold air intake system on this 4th gen Ram 1500. This is the Hemi 5.7 liter. So I've already gone ahead and I've already removed the factory air intake system, which was hooked here. Here's your throttle body. I've already cleaned the throttle body while I was at it. There is a connector for the air temperature sensor that goes right into that intake hose here, and your filter housing sits here. So once you remove a couple of the hose clamps here and remove the hose from the filter housing, you're able to lift the whole filter housing out of here. There's no bolts that hold it. There's just some pins at the bottom that your housing attaches to, and that whole thing can be removed out of. I also have already removed the engine cover, which you will have to do. The reason for removing the engine cover is you'll have to gain access to this crankcase ventilation hose here. Originally this is all plastic. You'll have to remove it from this end, and it's required you cut that from that end to here, about 11-12 inches. And this hose comes with your K&N intake system, and that'll attach to that hose. Kit here, obviously I took it off of another truck. I'm just moving it to this one, so it's not a brand new kit. Here I have our complete K&N cold air intake system. This is your heat shield. I've already gone ahead and put the brackets that's going to hold it onto here. There's also a filter adapter which clips in right through here, and there's 2 bolts that hold it right here. So with the kit you'll also have a seal which goes on the lip of this heat shield here. You'll have 2 clamps with a smaller boot, 2 bigger clamps with 1 bigger boot, and of course your filter with a clamp and your main intake hose. Now this is our original air intake temp sensor that we removed from the original intake hose, and this will plug right into our K&N intake system here. This is a rubber grommet that's supplied with this system. So once you push that rubber grommet in, you're able to put that original sensor into that grommet, just like so. Now there is an extension that's supplied with it to extend the wire on this. To mount, we will have to remove 2 original bolts from this truck. One is here, which holds your original filter housing here, and one is here. You can see I've had that loose, and that screws right into the main radiator support here. Go ahead and remove those bolts. These are 13 millimeter. We will be reusing these. I have everything pretty much assembled. That's the heat shield again. I have the smaller bracket here on the left side, and you got the larger bracket on the side here. And I've left them loose so that we can make the final adjustments once it's in the truck. And the bigger boot is on this end. I've left that clamp loose also for now, so we can go ahead and put this in the truck, make our adjustments before we tighten everything up. And our intake tube, we have the air temp sensor in it. The smaller boot goes on this end. That's the end that'll connect to the throttle body on the truck. And this nipple is screwed in at the bottom of this intake tube here, and that's what attaches to your crankcase ventilation hose that we cut up and attached the rubber hose to it. That'll get attached here. And once we have this heat shield in the truck, then we can go ahead and install this filter in here also. Here I have our heat shield sitting in the truck. At this time I'll go ahead and put the engine cover on before we put the intake tube onto the throttle body. We have our air box in place. Everything is still loose. We won't tighten everything fully until we have the intake hose on and we know it clears everything. Everything lines up. Once everything's together, we'll tighten up all the clamps, all the bolts. It's held in. Remember, these bolts here are original bolts that we pulled out from there. Those will go back into these brackets. All the other bolts for the box or on the other end of these brackets are supplied with your cold air intake kit. So I have my engine cover on, and yes, it's been painted red. Our intake tube is on at this time. Don't forget to connect the crankcase ventilation hose at the nipple on the bottom that we installed. Again, 2 hose clamps here, 2 of them on this end onto the throttle body, and then you have your temp sensor, which sits on the back of this intake here, and that'll connect to your original connector here. Remember, your original one may have been here on the throttle body, or actually in the original ear hose here, but on this one it ends up being back here. But that extender wire will make that connection happen there. So at this time we can go ahead and tighten up all the clamps. We can tighten up these bolts here for the brackets. We can tighten this up, making sure all the clearances are good. Nothing's going to hit the hood when it's closed or anything. In my case, everything's good here, so I'll go ahead and tighten everything up. One of our last steps we need to do is put our filter in the box. We have our filter. I have the clamp on there loosely. We'll go ahead and slip this filter onto the filter adapter here, just like so. Now we can actually go ahead and tighten up this clamp. With the filter in place and tightened, our installation here is complete. This system from K&N claims it flows 50% better or 50% more air than your original stock air filtration system. So we'll see how that does. I think it came out pretty good. Looks kind of cool. I thank you for watching.